Okay, so I'm gonna discuss IRL to ERL and ERL to IRL, which is internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. So today, for example, we had this CPI candle, which was like 200 points, I think. So how price moves 90% of the time, almost all the time, is from internal liquidity to external. Internal to external and external to internal. So internal liquidity or internal range liquidity means any PD rates, breaker blocks, order blocks, mitigation blocks, fair value gaps. The fuck, fair value gaps, like any ICT concept basically, and external liquidity is just swing highs and swing lows. So, for example, here, let's scale down a little bit. So, we made this move down to take this liquidity to also tap into this void that happened on Sunday. So now we tapped external. And what do we do after external? We tap into internal, which is this 1 minute for value gap. And then what do we do after? We target external, which is this swing high. What do we do after internal liquidity? And then target external, which is this swing low or this swing low. So how I took this trade, I didn't take it on eval, unfortunately. So going to the 5 minute here. So since we took this external, we wanted internal. And what is the most prominent internal liquidity that's in front of you right now? It is this for value gap or data candle. So what we did is we went from internal and then we swept, or almost swept, this, and we were also gonna take this. I'm sure there's an SMT here somewhere. So let's go back to the 5 minute. So what we formed here, oh yeah, there's a breaker right here, forgot. So we have a high, a low, and then a higher high. So these series of up close candles would be the breaker. So you can see we tapped into it, and then we took this external. So we went from internal to external. So the trade I took was, since we took this external buy side, we wanted to rebalance price and take an internal liquidity. So what do we have here? We have a internal for value gap, and we also have a breaker. This can be any of these candles or maybe the last 3 or 4. So we have this breaker and a fair value gap, which is a unicorn model. So what I did was I set a limit order, or we can just go to where I put the trade. Yeah, put a limit order inside the fair value gap and inside the breaker. And then since we took this external liquidity, we need to rebalance into internal before taking external again. So on the 5 minute, it happens on every time frame because of course price is fractal. So you can see this happening on the lower time frame inside of the trade as well. So you can see we took this external liquidity, so we had to rebalance price into this for value gap. Then we took this external liquidity, and then we wanted this high, and then this high, And what do we do after we take a high? We rebalance price into internal liquidity and then take external liquidity. So that's basically just how price moves. You can either, you just have to keep this in mind because this is how price moves, and you can see like on the daily as well. It works on every time frame. Let me look for a good series here. Okay, I guess this can count. Just a little example. So internal liquidity we rebalance into the fair value gap. We take external. We take external. Now we need internal. We tap into this breaker. What do we do after taking internal liquidity? We take external. What do we do after taking external? We take internal and then take external and then just over and over and over and over again. So that's just how price moves, and this is what confirmed the bias for today. So this can also be an AMD. So as you can see, we accumulated. We then manipulated into the 5-minute and the breaker, and I'm sure we can have a inverse fair value gap here somewhere. Yeah, we had this one. So this fair value gap was respected a couple of times. So when it gets disrespected, that means there's a lack of order flow to the downside, which confirms the bullish bias and confirms the overall bias to take this external, because we went from internal to external. So I'm glad that made you like understand something, and that helped your bias and overall understanding of price action. So thank you.